Hi there. This is our 20th Spanish lesson, and it is our second lesson learning how to say the time. So, if we want to ask what's the time, we said before that we would ask ¿Qué hora es? ¿Qué hora es? That's what's the time. Now we will see different examples so we can learn in Spanish how to say quarter past, quarter to, half past, 10 minutes past, it's almost 3, okay? So, ¿qué hora es? This is 8:15. We can say son las 8:15, or we can say simply 8:15, or las 8:15, or then this would be 8:15, but we can also say just 8:15, right? We would say 8:15. So this side 8:15 means 8:15. 8:15 means 8:15. If we translate word by word, it would be they are the 8 and quarter. Here 8 and 15. This is 12:30 or 12:30. We can say son las 12:30, or simply las 12:30, or just 12:30. This would be 12 and half, right? When to say past, quarter past or half past, in Spanish for past we use the word y, and also first goes the hour, later comes the rest, right? It's not as in English that you say first it's a 8:15 or 7:45. In Spanish you would say it is 8 and quarter, or it is 8 minus quarter, okay? Son las 12:30, or you can also say 12:30 for 12:30 instead of 12:30. This is 3:45 or 3:45, right? If we want to say 3:45, we would say 4 menos cuarto. Okay? Look at the difference between 4 and cuarto. There's the first here it's TR and here it is RT. Okay? This means 4, this means quarter, right? Menos means minus, right? And this is the word we use in Spanish to say 2:08, or for example 3:45. So 4 menos cuarto, 4 minus quarter, or 3:45. We can also say 3:45, 3:45, 3 and 45. Now for the time, this is 7:55 or 5 minutes to 8. We would say, if we want to say it's 5 to 8, we would say son las 8 menos 5. 8 minus 5. If we want to say it is 7:55, we would say 7:55. In this example, it is 8:35. If we want to say it is 9:25, we say 9 menos 25, which literally means 9 minus 25. If we want to just say 8:35, we would say 8:35, or son las 8:35. Here it is 11:05. We say 11:05, simply like that. 11 and 5. Son las 11:05. 2:57. We can say it's almost 3. Son casi las 3. Literally means they are almost the 3. Remember that whenever we say the time, it sounds okay to say the and the number, the hour, okay? So all this would be las 4 menos cuarto, las 8 menos 5, las 9 menos 25, okay? Las 11:05. When you begin your sentence just with the hour, with the time, with the hour you will say, you can omit the la or las, the article. But here that you're beginning with casi, with almost, you need to have the article here, okay? The article las for the 3. Since 3 is plural, you use a plural article, las. So, son casi las 3. It's almost 3. Or you can simply say las 2:57, for it is 2:57. Son las 2:57. Here it is 3:02. So we can just say it is past 3. Past 3. We would say son pasadas las 3. So pasadas means past. We can just say pasadas las 3, past the 3. Or we can say 3:02. We can say son las 3:02 for 3:02. Or we can say 3:02. Son las 3:02. Here in this example, you see, if you want to say 02, 03, or 06, 07, or 08, it sounds funny if you say it is 3:08. So you say it is 3:08. So that's why we don't say son las 3:02. We say son las 3. Sorry, we don't say son las 3. So we were in this example. We wouldn't say son las 3:02. We have to say son las 3:02. The same as in English, we would say 3:02 instead of saying 3:02, right? Or we can say son las 3:02. We can say it's 3:02, right? So this is the same in Spanish as in English. Here it's 3 o'clock sharp, right? So if you want to specify that's sharp 3 o'clock, you would specify saying en punto. So you would say son las 3 en punto. This means it's sharp 3 o'clock. Son las 3 en punto. The word punto means point or dot, right? Or when you're spelling and you want to say period, right? The dot at the end of a sentence, this is also punto. However, when you say en punto, that means o'clock, sharp. So, literal word-by-word translation, this would be they are the 3 o'clock, right? 9:50 or 10 minutes to 10. Son las 10 menos 10. They are the 10 minus 10, or it is 10 to 10. You can also say it 9:50. Son las 9:50. 50 for 50. Our last example is 11:10 or 10 past 11. We would say son las 11:10. Okay? 11:10 or las 11:10 or son las 11:10. So here we have seen the rule of how to apply quarter past, quarter to, half past, and so we can actually tell the time for any possible time, right? For example, let's see, this would be 3:08. We can say son las 3:08, right? Like here, son las 3:08, or son las 3:08. Or you can simply say son casi las 3:10. It's almost 10 past 3. Casi las 3:10. Okay? So we can see any other example. Let's see. Son las 9:15. Cuarto for quarter. Son las 11 menos cuarto. It is quarter to 11. Okay, always remember that in Spanish, first you say the hour, later you say the minutes, even if you say, no matter if it is past something or to something, first you always say the hour. So you say, if it is past, quarter past, you say las 9:15. If it is quarter to, you say las 9 menos cuarto, for 9 past or 9 to. Sorry, for quarter past 9 or quarter to 9. Okay? So let's review this. This is son las 8:15, quarter past. Son las 12:30, 12:30, quarter to 4. 4 menos cuarto, 5 minutes to 8. 8 menos 5, 25 to 9. 9 menos 25, 5 past 11. 11:05. It's almost 3. Son casi las 3. It's past 3. Son pasadas las 3. It is 3 o'clock. Son las 3 en punto. It is 10 minutes to 10. Son las 10 menos 10. And it is 10 minutes past 11. Son las 11:10. Okay? So this is all for today's lesson about how to tell the time, and we'll talk about lunch, breakfast, dinner, time to bed, time to get up in our next lesson. I think it is 21st lesson, okay? 21. So I'll see you next class. Bye. Hi everybody. We are back at our Spanish lessons, www.SpanishFreeLessonsOnline.com. Today we will see the third and last group of verbs in Spanish. These are the verbs that finish with ir. I-R. Okay? So the verbs that finish with letters I-R. Okay? We have seen that Spanish verbs are classified into 3 groups. Those finishing with ar, those finishing with er, and those finishing with ir. We previously learned how to conjugate those with ar and with er for the present tense. Now we will learn how to conjugate the regular verbs of the group of verbs that finish with ir. Okay? Here it says verbos que terminan en ir. Verbs that finish in ir. Okay? Verbos que terminan en ir. This group of verbs that end with ir is the group that has more irregular verbs. Okay? With the previous groups finishing with ar and er, the regular verbs were the greatest majority. Here there is a whole lot of verbs ending with ir that will be irregular. Okay? Perhaps not irregular in the conjugation for each one of the pronouns, right, of the persons, but at least for some. But we will see 4 examples of regular verbs, okay? Now, that will be the easier way to start. And later on we'll start probably learning how to conjugate those irregular verbs that are more important for everyday or for daily purposes, okay? So let's begin. We said verbs ending in ir. So these are the 4 examples we learned today how to conjugate in the present tense. Decidir, prohibir, combatir, salir. These verbs mean Decidir is decide. Prohibir, to prohibit, right? Combatir, to combat or to fight something or somebody. Salir is to go out or to get out. Okay, it's the both go out and get out mean salir. These three are very similar to the English verbs, right? Okay. So, the pronouns would be yo, tú, él, ella for the singular, okay? I, you, he, she, or it will also be the same conjugation, okay? Nosotros, vosotros, ustedes, ellos. That is we, you plural again, they. Again, I'll repeat, vosotros and ustedes mean the same thing, right? Although they conjugate differently, but they mean the same thing. In Spain, they use vosotros when they want to use a you plural form, and ustedes is used in Latin America. So, for verb decidir, that will be our first verb, look at this. The ending of the verb is ir, prohibir ir, and the root of the verb is what comes before the ir, the ir, right? What comes before. The root of the verb is going to remain the same for all the cases, right? The only thing that is replaced is the ending, ir, will be replaced by the right ending for the respective conjugation, okay? And that should apply for all the other regular verbs. So, yo decido, tú decides, él decide, ella decide, nosotros decidimos, vosotros decidís, ustedes deciden, ellos deciden. So, let me read it again a bit faster. Yo decido, tú decides. Oops, sorry, here I should have written decides. This is my mistake. Decides, okay? Okay, like in all the others. Yo decido, tú decides, él decide, or ella decide. Nosotros decidimos, vosotros decidís, ustedes deciden, ellos deciden. Right? So, you can see that the ending for I is o, es, e. Imos, is, en. And the root remains unchanged. Decide, okay? Again, I'll say, vosotros and ustedes mean the same thing, but the conjugation for the verb, for vosotros has its own conjugation, right? And ustedes shares the same conjugation as ellos, as they. You see? Deciden, prohíben, combaten, salen. Always, ustedes conjugates the same as ellos. Now let's see the verb prohibir, to prohibit. Okay? Again, we strip out the ir, the ending, and we replace it with the proper ending for the conjugation. Yo prohíbo, tú prohíbes, él prohíbe, ella prohíbe, nosotros prohibimos, Vosotros prohibís. Ustedes prohíben. Ellos prohíben. So now you can see that the ending is the same as the previous verb, you see, because these are regular verbs. It's exactly the same. And you can see here that the H is mute. The H has a mute sound, as we've seen when we learned the alphabet. The H, prohibimos. You don't pronounce the H. It has no sound, not even the soft sound that it has in English. In English you would say prohi, he. In Spanish the H is totally mute. The verb combatir, to combat or to fight something. Yo combato. Tú combates. Él combate. Ella combate. Nosotros combatimos. Vosotros combatís. Ustedes combaten. Ellos combaten. Same rule as the previous verbs applied, right? You just use the root of the verb and then you add the same ending. So our last verb now to learn is the verb salir. The verb means to go out or to get out. Yo salgo. Tú sales. Él sale. Ella sale. Nosotros salimos. Vosotros salís. Ustedes salen. Ellos salen. This verb has a special conjugation, irregular, for the first person of the singular, for yo. You see there is a G. So this is the root of the verb is sal, right? So ir is the ending. Sal would be the root. So between the common ending o for yo and sal, the root of the verb salir, we had to add a G, okay? This verb is only irregular for the first person. So would be the plus a G and the regular ending, and all the others are regular. Salimos, salís, salen, salen. Okay? Yo salgo, tú sales, él sale, ella sale, nosotros salimos, vosotros salís, ustedes salen, ellos salen. Okay, these are four examples of regular verbs that finish with ir. And later on we learn some examples on how to apply these in sentences that can be useful in everyday, for everyday purposes. Okay, and So, well, we won't do any more verbs for today, so this is the end of the lesson, and I'll see you next time. Have a nice day. Hi, welcome to our 22nd Spanish lesson. We are at www.SpanishFreeLessonsOnline.com. This, our 22nd lesson, we will learn some Spanish prepositions. The prepositions we will learn today are con, sin, por, para, de, and a. This means, in English, con means with, sin means without, por means for, but in the sense of because of, right? Because of something or because of somebody. Para means for somebody. De means of something or of somebody, okay? While in English you would say this is somebody's, in Spanish you would say this is of somebody. So you say de. A means to. So I'm going to Madrid. Iré a Madrid. Okay? So let's see these examples here and its meaning, so you can internalize the meaning and the use of these prepositions. Estoy con ella. It means I am with her. As we always say, the verbs in Spanish, since the conjugation of the verb implies already the pronoun or the person, then you can and you usually do omit the subject or the pronoun in the sentence. So here I'm not saying yo estoy con ella, right? Yo is I. I'm not saying yo estoy con ella, although that would be correct also. I'm just saying estoy con ella. It's as if in English, instead of saying I am with her, I would just say am with her. This is mostly used in Spanish. Estoy sin ella. Sin is without, so I am without her, right? Ella means also she, but with her is also sin ella, okay? So ella is she and her. Lo hago por ellos. This means I do it for them or because of them, okay? This for is for, but more in the sense of because of, right? Because of some reason, like I'm doing it because of the reason of, because of them, okay? So if we translate this literally word by word, it would be something like this. It I do because of them. Okay? So lo would be like it, for I do it because of them. Esto es para ti. This is for you. This one is very easy. You can translate it word by word. So, para means for. Este libro es de historia. Este libro es de historia. It means this is a history book, but if we translate this sentence word by word, this would literally mean this book is of history. Okay? Iré, sorry, we are missing the tilde here. Iré a Madrid. This is future tense conjugation of the verb ir, or verb to go, for the first person, for I, or yo. Here it says, I will go to Madrid. Iré a Madrid. A means to. I will go to Madrid. Tendré cuidado con el perro. Tendré cuidado con el perro. Tendré means I will have. Cuidado means care or careful. Con is with. El perro, the dog. Dog is masculine in Spanish, so you use el, that is the masculine article. This means I'll be careful with a dog. But literally in Spanish you would say I will have, because tendré is a future tense conjugation for I, for yo. Tendré is I will have care with the dog. Estoy sin dinero. This is I am, right? This in one of our first lessons we learned the conjugation in present tense for estar, verb estar, right? It's a verb to be. Estoy sin dinero. This literally, I translated it literally, word by word. I am without money, or I don't have money. I don't have any money. In Spanish, this is the most common way of saying I don't have any money. Estoy sin dinero. Por este motivo debo volver a casa. Por este motivo debo volver a casa. If we say it in normal speed, it would be por este motivo debo volver a casa. Por este motivo debo volver a casa. Por means because of. We've seen it here, right? It's for, but in the sense of because of. So this literally would translate like, for this reason I need to return home, or to go back home. For this reason I have to return home. Here's the translation. For this reason I have to return home. Or because of, because por we say this because of. Because of this reason I have to return home. Let's do a word by word translation now, okay? Because of this reason or motive, I have. So let's see this sentence again. Let's translate literally word by word. Because of this reason or motive, I have returned to home. Okay? A means to. Now this is a question. ¿Para quién es esto? Who is this for? ¿Para quién es esto? So, ¿para quién es esto? We are using the preposition para. Para means for, as here, right? Esto es para ti. This is for you. ¿Para quién es esto? If we translate this word by word, it would be for who is this? Esa casa es la de Rafael. Or you can also say, esa casa es de Rafael. The difference if you use la or you don't use la here would be, if you just say, esa casa es de Rafael, you would be saying, that house is Rafael's, right? Esa casa es de Rafael. That house is Rafael's. If you say, esa casa es la de Rafael, you are saying, that one is Rafael's home or Rafael's house. You're specifying it's that one. So, esa casa es la de Rafael. That house is the one of Rafael. Right? So, Rafael's would be of Rafael in Spanish. De Rafael. Casa is both house and home. Now our last sentence is another question. ¿A quién le importa? I missed the tilde again here. ¿A quién le importa? This means who cares, right? Who cares? Who cares? ¿A quién le importa? And if we translate this word by word, it would be to whom it matters, to who or whom it matters, or who cares would be the right translation. ¿A quién le importa? So the preposition a means to. Can be to whom or to in the sense of where to, right? So these are all the examples we'll be seeing today, but not the only ones we'll be seeing through the course, through our Spanish course. So this is the end of our 22nd lesson, and I'll see you tomorrow again in our 23rd lesson, okay? Take care, bye. Hi there, welcome to our 23rd lesson at www.SpanishFreeLessonsOnline.com. In this lesson we will learn the Spanish possessive pronouns. As you can see here, pronombres posesivos. This literally means possessive pronouns. This is how you call it in English, in Spanish, sorry. Pronombres posesivos. Pronombres posesivos, or possessive pronouns. Pronouns possessive in plural. So we'll see the pronombres posesivos starting with the first person of the singular, the first pronoun I or yo, and ending with the third of the plural for they or ellos. Okay, this would be would correspond to yo, I, right? For you or tú, for he, she, it, or él, ella, for we or nosotros, for vosotros or you. This is also for you plural, ustedes, the Latin American form, and for they, ellos. Let me say again, this and this is the same way, it's a different way of saying the same thing, right? So this means exactly the same as this, but this would be the form used in Spain, vosotros, for you plural, and this would be the form used in Latin America for the you plural, that would be ustedes. Both ways are perfectly correct, academically accepted, only that one is used in one place, the other is used in another place, but they are understood in any Spanish-speaking country in the world. So you choose the one you feel more comfortable with. So here I have written the translation in English of each of these simple sentences, and we will start with the first one. Let me first introduce you to the vocabulary in case you forgot these. Libro is book. This is a plural, libros, right? Casa is house. Casas, houses. Amigo is friend. Amigos, friends. Amiga is female friend or a girlfriend. Amigas is girlfriends, right? The feminine of friend. And here, just for simplifying, I used amigo and amiga for all the other examples. Now look at this. Here I have just used this a masculine. The ones that end in O are masculine words, masculine nouns. The ones that end in A, like casa, are feminine nouns, right? Both add simply an S to become plural, okay? So the plural for casa will be casas, okay? The plural for libro will be libros. Now let's start reading our examples for pronombres posesivos en español. Pronombres posesivos en español. This is possessive pronouns in Spanish. Mi libro. This means my book, right? So the pronombres posesivos is what in English we call my, your, his, hers, its, our, their, your, okay? Mi libro, my book. Now, if we want to say my books in plural, we say mis libros. So not only the noun goes in plural, but also the pronombre posesivo also acquires an S for the plural, okay? Tu casa, your house. Tus casas, your houses. Su amigo, his or her or its friend. Sus amigos, his friends or her friends or its friends. Okay? Su or sus is works for the three cases: his, her, or its. Okay? Nuestro amigo, our friend. Nuestros amigos, our friends, plural. Now look at this. For we and for you, we can see that not only you add an S in the pronoun for the plural, but also you change the O for an A when the noun is a feminine noun. We can see this here for friend and girlfriend. Nuestro amigo, our friend. Nuestra amiga with A is our girlfriend. Nuestros amigos, our friends. And nuestras amigas, our girlfriends. Same thing if we use the for your plural, right? You plural, the possessive pronoun would be your. If we use a form that is used in Spain, vosotros, it would be like this: vuestro amigo, your friend. Vuestros amigos, your friends. Vuestra amiga, your girlfriend. Vuestras amigas, your girlfriends, plural. Now, as we said, this and this have the same meaning because vosotros and ustedes means the same thing, but vosotros is used in Spain, ustedes is used in Latin America, right? And the pronombre posesivo for ustedes or you plural, as used in Latin America, is su, right? As for vosotros it would be vuestro, for ustedes it would be su. That is exactly the same as the pronombre posesivo for they, that we will see later. You see, they are exactly the same. So, your in the form of Latin America and there are exactly the same. You see, it's su. So let's see. Su amigo, your friend. We are speaking of your plural, right? Sus amigos. So we were saying, su amigo is your friend. Your friend. Sus amigos, that is your friends. Su amiga, that is his sorry. That's your girlfriends, and sus amigas is your girlfriends. So su amiga is singular, your girlfriend. Sus amigas is your girlfriends. You see that here for su, the pronombre posesivo does not change for masculine and feminine as it does change for nuestro, nuestra, or vuestro, vuestra. You see, it becomes masculine or feminine. Su, su. You see, it's just one. It's neither masculine nor feminine. Same as mi, same as tu, same as su. Right? It only differentiates adding an s for the plural. Now, for they, right, the third person of the plural, we also use su as the pronombre posesivo. So, this is su amigo, their friend. Sus amigos, their friends. Su amiga, their girlfriend. Sus amigas, their girlfriends. Okay, so I want you to remember the pronombres posesivos. For I, for the first person, is me, right? This would be my. Okay? My, your, his or her or its, our, your. This is also your plural. And they. Their. From they, their pronoun would be, their possessive pronoun would be their. So you can see the special case here with our and your. It also becomes feminine if it goes together with a feminine noun. So you have nuestro, nuestra for masculine and feminine, and here you have also vuestro and vuestra, depending if it's a masculine noun or a feminine noun, right? This can also you can also add an adjective, and the adjectives in Spanish also switch into masculine and feminine, and plural and singular. Okay? So remember that all of these, right, they add an s for masculine, for plural, and they have no s at the end if it's a singular, right? So mi for singular, mis with an s for the plural. So this would be my book, my books, right? Same with tu, tus, su, sus, nuestro, nuestros, nuestra, nuestras, vuestro, vuestros, vuestra, vuestras, su, sus, su, sus, su, sus, su, sus. Okay? So this is all for today about the pronombres posesivos en español. And this is the end of our 23rd lesson. I hope it's useful. And try to practice the pronunciation try to practice how to pronounce the sounds, the vowels, the consonants mainly in Spanish. And well, I see you in the next class. Take care. Hi there. We are back. This is our 24th Spanish lesson, and we are at www.spanishfreelessonsonline.com. In this, our 24th lesson, we will now learn some more about pronouns, possessive pronouns, and a few examples with adjectives, okay? In Spanish, we call it pronombres posesivos y adjetivos. Okay, this is very English, very easy to translate, because pronombres, you can see, is pronouns, and adjetivos is adjectives. So it's quite intuitive here, okay? So look at this. This is still, as we saw in the previous lesson, the pronombre posesivo, right? Here we have the nouns, and here, after the noun, we are placing the adjective, okay? Blanca, nuevo, grande. Okay? Here, in the second sentence, we are adding a verb, okay? Between the noun and the adjective. So first, let's start with the vocabulary so you can understand these words. Camisa is a shirt. Blanca means white. So, mi camisa blanca means my shirt white, or my white shirt. In Spanish, actually, you can switch the position of the verb, of the noun and the adjective. Okay, so it's okay to say it as in English. My white shirt. Mi blanca camisa. That's fine, but it's unusual. So the usual way of speaking in Spanish is saying first the noun, second the adjective, okay? As it's here, mi camisa blanca, my white shirt. Camisa being shirt, blanca being white. And as you can see, camisa ending in A is a feminine word, a feminine noun. So the adjective has also to be feminine. That's why the adjective here ends in A. For auto, which means car, it's a short form of automóvil. Since auto is masculine, the adjective has also to be masculine. That's why it also ends in O. Okay? And you can see nuestros and vuestros are the only cases of pronombres posesivos that the pronoun also becomes masculine and feminine. So, nuestro would be for masculine, nuestra for feminine, vuestro for masculine, vuestra for feminine. Only for these two. That, as we've seen in our previous lesson, okay? So let's see which other words we have here. Casa is house, as we've seen. Grande, grande means big. Pantalones, trousers. Cortos, short, right? Means short trousers. Since pantalones is a plural word, like trousers, then the word short, the adjective short, needs also to be in masculine, because it's masculine noun, and plural. That's why you have an S. Libros means books. Viejos is the plural for old. Zapatos means shoes. Rotos, is broken. Again, zapatos is masculine plural because we are talking about shoes, the pair of shoes. So the adjective broken needs to be masculine and plural as well. Rotos. If not, it would be roto for masculine singular, or rota for feminine singular, or rotas for feminine plural. Okay, this rule applies for all the adjectives. Okay, for masculine the adjective ends in an O, for feminine the adjective ends in an A, and for plural it always adds an S. Okay, so this rule is easy because it applies to all the adjectives. So when you see this, you know it's masculine and it's plural. And we have exceptions, like here, when the noun ends with a consonant, like azul is blue. Azul. This means blue. I should have written it with blue, not with green, but still it means blue. So the adjective blue doesn't become neither masculine nor plural because it has no O or A to differentiate it. So it only becomes plural or singular, right? Since you cannot in Spanish end a word with ls, right? Then the plural needs to add an E before the S. So this would be the plural for blue, right? Azules here. Calcetines means socks. So these mean the blue socks, right? Sus calcetines azules means their blue socks. And blue needs to be in plural because the noun is plural. So let's read all the examples one after the other. Mi camisa blanca means my white shirt. Now if we add the verb to be conjugated for the third pronoun singular, for it, because a shirt is an it, right? Then it would be is in English, right? The verb would be is. So we use es in Spanish. Mi camisa es blanca means my shirt is white. So if you add the verb between the noun and the adjective, you see the difference. Mi camisa blanca, my white shirt. Mi camisa es blanca, my shirt is white. Tu auto nuevo, my new car. Tu auto es nuevo, your car is new. Su casa grande means his or her or its house, his big house or her big house. Su casa es grande. His house is big. Or her house is big. Nuestros pantalones cortos. Our short trousers or pants. Nuestros pantalones son cortos. Our pants are short. Vuestros libros viejos. Your old books. Vuestros libros son viejos. Your books are old. Sus zapatos rotos. This is their broken shoes. Sus zapatos están rotos. Their shoes are broken. Now look at this. In this case, in this example, we did not use es, we used están. Están and es are both conjugated in present tense for the third pronoun of the singular, for he, she, it, okay? But the verb is different. It's a different verb because while in English we would use verb to be here, right? We would say, my car is new. And here we would say, their shoes are broken, right? Sorry, here we're using, it's a third person of the plural, not of the singular, because están is plural, right? We're talking about shoes, but never mind. In Spanish, it's not the same verb, it's different verbs, because we said before in one of our previous lessons that the verb to be, the English verb to be in Spanish translates into these two verbs, ser and estar. Okay? So, if you remember from our previous lesson, the verb ser is the verb to be, but is used for a permanent situation. And the verb estar is used for a more transitory situation. For example, we would say, I am a man, but I would say, sorry, let's say it in Spanish. Yo soy un hombre. I am a man. We are using verb ser. But if I want to say, I am happy, I would say, yo estoy contento, right? Because feelings and states of mind are transitory and not permanent, right? So we use estar. Same thing with here. When we say that books are old or new, or trousers are short, or a house is big, or a shirt is white, those are permanent, and we use the verb ser, right? That's why we used es, right? Son is plural of es, right? But if we want to say that the shoes are broken, it's a transitory state, something that involves a change, okay? So we use verb estar. That's why we say sus zapatos están rotos. Because if we use the verb ser and we just say sus zapatos son rotos, that would imply that the shoes were produced broken as a rule, right? From factory, which doesn't make sense really. So we would say that the shoes are broken. Sus zapatos están rotos. Okay, verb estar. Sus calcetines azules. Their blue socks. Sus calcetines son azules. Their socks are blue. Here again we are using verb ser, right, as here. Because blue is a permanent state. So check and take a look at the pronunciation for roto, broken, roto or rotos. Check out the pronunciation of the R. The R at the beginning of a word is the rough R, right? That is so difficult to pronounce in English. So this is roto. Here the R is different. It's grande. You see, grande. The R is smoother. It's not grande. It's grande. You need to practice that. Here, yes, it's the rough R. It's roto. Not roto. No, roto. Let's see. Here's the smooth R. Libro. Not libro. It's libro. Corto. Okay? So, well, this is all for today about adjectives and some more pronouns. And this is the end of our 24th lesson. So if you have any questions, you can post them in the blog, and I'll be happy to answer any doubts you may have. So have a nice day and see you soon. Hola amigos, hoy vamos a estudiar dos verbos nuevos, el verbo querer y el verbo ir. Hi, what I just said in Spanish was, hello friends, today we will study two new verbs, the verb to want and the verb to go. So today, in our, I think it's our 25th lesson, we will learn these two important verbs. The verb to want, for obvious reasons, it's very important because it's a verb that is used a lot in daily sentences and conversation. But especially important is the verb ir, or to go. Why? Because not only it has the meaning of to go, which by itself is a very common and used verb, right? But also verb ir works as an auxiliary verb that has the same function as the as will in English for making the future tense. So in Spanish, if you want to say I will go, you would say yo voy a ir, right? Voy is conjugation of the verb to go, and ir is verb to go in infinitive. If you want to say I will eat in Spanish, you say Yo voy a comer. So, as you can see, the verb to go, in addition of its intrinsic importance for being a very used and important verb, that means to go, it's also very important because you can rely on it to make to speak in the future tense. Okay. Actually, in Spanish there are two ways of assembling the future in a future tense sentence. Okay, you can either conjugate the verb into future, or you can just use the verb ir in present tense, and then add the a, that means to, and the verb in infinitive, right? The example I just gave you was, if you want to say I will eat, you say yo voy a comer. Comer means eat, right? So this verb ir, knowing how to conjugate it, will give you another very important tool for you to add to your Spanish knowledge, and this will help you to be able to speak in the future. Okay? So let's begin first with verbo querer, verb to want. And in our next lesson we will try to use some examples where we can practice these two verbs and some new vocabulary that we will be learning. So it would be good if you try to remember and study the conjugation of these two verbs, so in our next lesson we can put that into practice. Okay? So these are the pronouns in Spanish. Okay? I, you, he, she, we, you plural, they. And again I will repeat, you plural, these two pronouns mean the same thing in Spanish, but this is the way that is used, this is the form that is used in Spain, and this is the form that is used in all Latin America. Okay? Both are academically correct and accepted in any speaking language, in any Spanish-speaking country in the world. So you just feel more comfortable with one you prefer. Let's begin. Yo quiero means I want. Tú quieres. Él quiere, or ella quiere, for he wants or she wants. Nosotros queremos, we want. Vosotros queréis, you want. Ustedes quieren, you want. Ellos quieren, they want. So let's read this again. This time I'll read it in normal speed. Okay? Yo quiero, tú quieres, él quiere, ella quiere, nosotros queremos, vosotros queréis, ustedes quieren, ellos quieren. Now let's see how we conjugate verb to go. Verbo ir, ir. Okay? Remember that the R in Spanish, if it's not either at the beginning of the word or it's not doubled as double R, then it's not the rough sound of the R. It's not R, it's R, a smoother sound. So this is not ir, it's ir, ir. Okay, verbo ir. Let's spell the verb ir. This is I-R. Okay, remember that in Spanish this is E. This is I. Okay? So don't get confused with English. This is E. This is I. So, yo voy means I go. Tú vas, you go. Él va, or ella va, or eso va. He, she, it goes. Él means he, ella means she, eso is the Spanish word for it. Okay? So, eso va is that goes or it goes. Actually, eso va would be that, because if you want to say it goes, it's usually implied in the verb. You just say va, and that's all. You can omit the pronoun that is already it's already understood by the conjugation of the verb va. Nosotros vamos. We go. Vosotros vais. You go. Ustedes van. You go, but in the Latin American form. Ellos van. They go. So, if you want to say, I want to eat, you would say, sorry. If you want to say, I will eat, you would say, yo voy a comer. Okay? So you have to add a, which means to, and a verb in infinitive. Okay? So you add the verb in infinitive after a. Remember that in Spanish, all verbs in infinitive either end in ar, or er, or ir. Comer is of the group of verbs that finish in er, like querer, okay? E-R, er. If you want to say, you will run, tú vas a correr. Correr. Correr means to run. Tú vas a correr. You see that this literally word by word would mean you go to run. I go to eat. Right? But the phrase would mean I will eat. Él, if you want to say he or she or it will you can say, for example, if you want to say that goes there, you will say eso va ahí. You see? You're not using the verb ir for the future tense. You're just saying this or that or it goes there. That's its place. So you would say eso va ahí. Ahí means there. If you want to say he will come, you'll say él va a, remember you always use to, a venir. Verb venir means to come. Él va a venir. Nosotros vamos a beber. That means we will drink. Beber. So word by word mean it is we are going to drink. Nosotros vamos a beber. If you want to say you will what can we say? You will dress up. Okay? Vosotros vais a, as usual, vestiros. Actually, I'll show you. Look at this. Vestidos. Remember in one of our first lessons, we learned the reflexive verbs that finish with se. The verb to dress would be vestir, okay, finishing in ir, from the group of verbs that finish in ir. But we are not saying you are going to dress. We are saying you're going to dress up. In Spanish, the verb to dress up is a reflexive verb that literally means you're going to dress yourself. Right? So, in Spanish, to dress yourself is vestirse, okay? All reflexive verbs, when you have the verb and says yourself, they all add the ending se to the verb itself, okay? So vestirse. And when you conjugate the verb, you always need to change the ending for the pronoun. So for vosotros, you change it to vestidos. You're going to dress yourself. You will dress yourself. Vosotros vais a vestiros. But if you want to use just a regular verb that is not reflexive, like dress yourself or dress up, let's say you are going to jump. It's just a simple verb. Vosotros vais a saltar. Vais a saltar. You see, it's the same rule as before. Vosotros vais, you add a, and the verb in infinitive, saltar, means to jump, and it belongs to the group of verbs that end in ar. If you want to say they will paint. They will paint. You can say ellos van a pintar. Okay? If you want to say, using the Spanish form for you plural, you want to say they are going, you plural, you are going to study, or you will study in plural, in future tense. You will study. You will say ustedes van a estudiar. Ustedes van a estudiar. Okay? That means you will study. So this is the present tense for the verb ir. Okay? You can also use it just as a verb to go, right? What it is. So if you just say yo voy and you just remove all this ending that we wrote in green, this would mean I go, you go, he, she, it goes, we go, you go, they go, right? If you want to say I will go, you can say yo voy a ir. You see? Ir. It's the same verb in infinitive, right? Yo voy a ir. I will go. And as for verb querer, you also add the verb in infinitive. If you want to say I want to eat, you would say yo quiero comer. Verb to eat, right? You want to say you want to sit down. Sit down in Spanish is also a reflexive verb, right? So it's not only the verb sentar, which means to sit, but it's sentarse, right? It's reflexive. It means to sit oneself. So, and you don't say sit down, you say sit oneself. So if you want to say I will sit down, you would say in Spanish I will sit myself. So it would be you want to sit down, you would say tú quieres sentarte. Sentarte. Tú quieres sentarte. You see the verb sentar in infinitive with the ending for tú, that is te. In the same way as when we said vosotros vais a vestiros, for vosotros the ending was os, right? For tú the ending is te. If you want to say he wants to he wants to read, okay? He wants to read. Él quiere leer. Read. You see, it's just, you just add the verb in infinitive, just that. If you will say he wants to read. If you want to say he wants something, instead of, so something is a noun, instead of wanting the verb, you say wanting something, an object, a noun. Then you need to add a word before the noun in Spanish. Let's use the example with we want. Let's say we want tea, right? For drinking tea. Remember that while in English you have to say we want a cup of tea. In Spanish we just say tea, right? We just say we want tea. Nosotros queremos té. You see? You just add the noun here and that's all. Sorry, I think I said we had to add something. We don't have to add anything. You just add the noun and that's all. We want tea, right? Or you can also say, as in English, we want a cup of tea, we would say nosotros queremos una taza de té. But usually we just say té, like this, tea. Vosotros queréis comida, means you want food. Vosotros queréis comida. Okay? And this way, you just add either the verb in infinitive or the something that you want, that you're wanting, or that he is wanting, or whoever is a pronoun. Okay? So with this, if you study this, if you remember how to use it, in our next lesson we will see some more examples of sentences where we can apply these two verbs. Okay? So this is the end of our lesson, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Hi there. Welcome to our 26th lesson of Spanish. We are at www.SpanishFreeLessonsOnline.com. In this lesson, we will see few examples using the verbs we learned to conjugate in the previous lesson, the verbs querer and the verb ir, right? Querer, ir. That's the verbs to want and to go, right? Or will. We said that the verb ir, or to go, is also used as auxiliary verb for making the future tense in Spanish. Okay? So you will use verb ir as you would use will in English to say a sentence in future, right? You will say, I will eat. In Spanish you would say, voy a comer. So now let's see these few examples. Quiero un emparedado. Emparedado is the Spanish word for sandwich. So if you want to say, I want a sandwich, you say, quiero un emparedado. The word sandwich, the English word sandwich, is quite international, so you can also say quiero un sándwich and it will be acceptable and understood everywhere. However, this is the Spanish word for sandwich. As you can see here, I'm omitting to write down the pronoun. So I'm not writing down yo. I'm not writing down the subject, the pronoun yo. That means I. And that is because the verb quiero is already conjugated in the present tense for the first person of the singular, for yo. And this is the usual way you would say it in Spanish, right? Because it sounds redundant if you say yo quiero un emparedado, right? It sounds redundant because the yo is already implied here. When I listen to quiero, I already know that the subject is yo, I. So we have to get used to identifying which is the person or the subject when we listen or read the verb. Quiero un emparedado. I want a sandwich. Now, quiero comer un emparedado. Quiero comer un emparedado. This means I want to eat a sandwich. Comer is in the infinitive. It means to eat. Here I say, quiero ese emparedado grande. Quiero ese emparedado grande. I want that sandwich big. Or I want that big sandwich. Quiero ese emparedado grande. Primero voy a comer el chico. Primero means first. First. So here, word by word, this translates like this. First, I will eat, or to eat, the small. The translation would be, first I will eat the small one. El chico would be the small one. If you just say, primero voy a comer chico, and you omit el, the article, it's as saying in English, first I will eat small. But if you write down el chico, then you are saying the small one. Okay? Primero voy a comer el chico. First, I will eat the small one. You can see here, verb ir is conjugated in present tense for the first person, for yo, or I. So this means voy a comer. If you have a, that means to. And eat, that means to eat. That means that you are speaking in the future. First, I am going to eat, or I will eat. ¿Me prestas la revista azul? Prestas means to lend. It's conjugated here for the second person of the singular, for you. So, me prestas means to me you lend the magazine blue, right? Revista is magazine. Azul is blue. So, this means, would you lend me, or can you lend me the blue magazine? ¿Me prestas la revista azul? ¿Me prestas la revista azul? Again, to me, you lend the magazine blue. That's the word-by-word translation. ¿Cuál? Which, or which one? Which one? The small one? Sorry about that, guys. The video cut while I was explaining our last sentence. It's ¿cuál? ¿La pequeña o la grande? ¿Cuál means which one? La pequeña, the small one, or la grande, the big one. So this would be which one? The small one or the big one? Now, these are two adjectives, okay? Pequeña means small, or pequeño or pequeña, small. Grande means big. You can see pequeña ends with a because it refers to a feminine noun. Which is the feminine noun here? It's referring to La revista, the magazine, which is a feminine word because it ends in A. Okay? Words ending in A are feminine. That's why the small one, la pequeña, it's feminine, ending in A or A in Spanish. And now that we are talking about adjectives, I want to show you and teach you something new. Look at this. Pequeño is small. Hombre is man. Mujer, woman. Hombres, men, plural, right? It has an S at the end. Mujeres is plural, women, okay? Has an S at the end. So, un and una is an indefinite article, right? A. It's not the, it is a. Un hombre, a man. Una mujer, a woman. Let's see. Un hombre pequeño. It's a small man. The adjective pequeño ends with an O because it refers to a masculine noun, which in this case is the man. Una mujer pequeña. Pequeña, that means small, ends now with an A because it refers to a feminine word that is woman, right? Hombres pequeños, small men. The adjective pequeño now ends with O because it is referring to a masculine word, which is hombre, or man, but now it's men, it's plural, hombres, so it adds an S, right? It's pequeños because it's talking about men in plural. Mujeres pequeñas. Mujeres is feminine and plural, means women. It's a feminine word, right? Because it's women and plural. So the adjective ends with A for feminine and an S for the plural. So that's clear. And now look at the adjective grande or big. Un hombre grande. A big man, right? A man big. Una mujer grande. A big woman. Hombres grandes. Big men. Mujeres grandes. Big women. Now, however, look at this. The adjective doesn't change whether it's referring to a masculine word or a feminine word. It's grande for masculine, it's grande for feminine. It's grandes for masculine plural, it is grandes for feminine plural. Why is that? And this is the reason. Look, the adjectives that end with O or A, right, are like pequeño, like chico. Chico is the same as pequeño. These are synonyms. Chico and pequeño mean both small, right? These that end with O or A do change to masculine. They switch to masculine or feminine endings depending on whether they refer to a masculine noun or a feminine noun. And the adjectives like grande, like azul, blue, those adjectives that end in something else that is not O or A, those do not change to masculine or feminine, right? They just remain the same, and they just add an S for the plural in case they are plural, but they do not switch to masculine or feminine. So grande is grande for masculine, grande for feminine. Azul is azul for masculine, azul for feminine. So if the adjective does not end in O or A, it does not transform or convert to masculine or feminine. That's you just need to remember that, okay? So this is the end of our 26th lesson, and I hope I see you next time. Goodbye.